All right, in today's explainer, we are unpacking a seriously fascinating framework for the near future, and it's hidden inside just 7 very deliberate words. The Stoic Reset, Calibrating Focus for 2026. Every single syllable here serves a purpose. Together, they form this striking blueprint for how we navigate modern distraction. It's a dense, purposeful idea, and over the next few minutes, we're going to break down this architecture, concept by concept, to extract the immense value packed into this one single sentence.
So, to really get this, we actually need to start at the very end of our source phrase, 2026. Think about how near that horizon actually is. It establishes this impending, unavoidable reality. We aren't talking about some distant science fiction future anymore, right? It is literally right around the corner. And by placing this specific year at the end of the phrase, our source text creates a hard deadline. It transforms what could be just an abstract philosophical idea into a concrete, urgent necessity. It tells us that whatever preparation we're about to do, we are doing it for a specific environment that is rapidly approaching us.
And with 2026 approaching so quickly, let me ask you, what mindset is going to define it for you? Because time is going to pass regardless, but how you arrive at that destination? Well, that depends entirely on the mental framework you choose to adopt today. We really have a choice here. We can either stumble into the coming years totally overwhelmed by the constant churn of information, or we can build a deliberate architecture right now. The source text is basically challenging us to decide, are we going to be reactive to whatever the future throws at us, or are we going to approach the coming days with careful, conscious intention?
Now, taking the phrase as a whole, I want you to notice the punctuation, that colon right in the middle. It acts as a powerful fulcrum. On the left side, we have the action, the Stoic reset, and on the right side, we have the method and the goal, calibrating focus for 2026. It's essentially an equation. The action leads to a method, which ultimately leads to a destination. Let's pull apart the left side of that equation first. The very first operative word here is stoic, meaning grounded, focused, and absolutely unshakable. The text doesn't call for just any generic reset. It specifically demands a stoic one. And that implies that before any new action can take place, there has to be a firm baseline. Look, in a world that is practically vibrating with constant pings, group chats, overflowing inboxes, and just shifting demands, adopting this stoic baseline means strictly separating what is within your control from what is not. You aren't just taking a quick break. You are actively fortifying your mental state against all that external chaos.
Immediately following that grounding is the reset. And let's be clear, this isn't just a pause button or a nice weekend vacation. It is a definitive, hard stop. Think of it like pulling the power plug on a completely frozen computer just to clear out the cache. Our source text borrows this really powerful imagery to imply a sudden, necessary break. To move forward effectively, we literally cannot carry our current mental clutter with us. We have to establish a clean slate by entirely severing our connection to the noise. And embedded within these words is this fascinating hidden timeline. First, the reset acts as an immediate decisive action. Second, calibrating introduces an ongoing continuous process. And finally, focus achieved is the ultimate target locked onto 2026. The source text has essentially handed us a 3-part chronological roadmap. It acknowledges a pretty harsh truth, which is that you cannot just magically jump straight from a chaotic present into a perfectly focused future. You've got to trigger an event, endure a process, and only then do you hit the target.
Which reveals this brilliant linguistic tension right at the heart of our source text. The reset is a sudden, binary action. It's like dropping a hammer. Bam! It happens in an instant. But calibrating, that is a continuous, delicate micro-adjustment. It's much more like using a scalpel, and it takes deliberate time. The text intentionally pairs an immediate, violent shift with a slow, meticulous refinement. Understanding that specific contrast is absolutely crucial to unlocking the true depth of what this phrase teaches us about managing our own attention. So that brings us to the active verb on the right side of our fulcrum, calibrating. This is the deliberate, roll-up-your-sleeves work of fine-tuning your attention. Because it's an ongoing action, it signifies something that doesn't just happen once. It requires daily maintenance. Think about it. Calibration is what you do to highly sensitive scientific instruments to ensure they're reading reality accurately. Well, our minds and our attention spans are exactly those sensitive instruments. You don't just fix them once and walk away. You have to constantly, deliberately adjust them as the environment around you shifts. And what exactly are we fine-tuning here? Focus, directing energy with absolute precision. This is the ultimate objective. Focus is the vital commodity we are reclaiming through the reset, and it's what we are protecting through calibration. It is not just about limiting your screen time. It's about the conscious allocation of your life's energy. If the Stoic reset clears the board, focus is the absolute laser beam you fire across that cleared space. It's the precise output mechanism for all of the preparation we've just discussed.
Now, pulling this all together, we get a highly actionable sequence derived directly from the architecture of our source phrase. First, you initiate the Stoic reset to cut the noise and establish your unshakable baseline. Then, you begin calibrating, taking on the daily work of fine-tuning your habits and your attention. Finally, you lock that newly refined energy directly onto 2026. The really brilliant thing about this source material is that it isn't just some abstract philosophical observation. It's actually an incredibly efficient instruction manual, just disguised as a single sentence.
Which loops us right back to our anchor, 2026. All of this resetting and fine-tuning doesn't just happen in a vacuum. It is deeply anchored to this specific approaching destination. Without this target, the calibration wanders and the reset feels, well, kind of pointless. 2026 provides the gravitational pull that gives the rest of the words their meaning and their momentum. It is the core reason for the effort. It's the why behind the what and the how. So, I want to leave you with this. How will you calibrate your focus as 2026 approaches? The framework is right here, but the execution is entirely yours. You know the noise is only going to get louder, and the need for precision has literally never been higher. So, are you going to let the next few years just happen to you? Or are you ready to pull the plug and initiate your own Stoic reset?